Hello, John Bloodworth, Gentleman Crafter here with Card Sketch Challenge number 17. This is the card that I made during this particular episode, and here is what I used to make it. So I've got an ink pad, some dies and coloured cardstock, which I've matched with these graphic 45 papers. I've also got myself a blank 6x4 card. 6x4. Time to trim down the layers, and of course if you want any of the measurements, please do head over to my website gentlemancrafter.com, where I have a printable PDF sheet that will give you all of the measurements on a layout and also a picture of this card for reference. Stick them in a binder, stick them in a drawer, stick them in the bin, whatever you want to do with them. Just go and download them, please. Thank you, please. Now the main layer is just slightly smaller than the 6x4 card, so I'm going to try and take my time to make sure that's lined up. There we go. And then the strip, which is actually the reverse side of this very same sheet, is going to go down the left hand side. You can of course flip or mirror some of these layouts, so if you are feeling a little bit inspired and there is a die or a sentiment or an embellishment that you want to use that would work better on the other side, feel free. These are just serving suggestions, they are not the actual meal. A bit like ready meals from the supermarket. You see the lovely pretty pie on the front, and then when you cook it at home it's all gravy down the side. Oh dear, I really need to stop being single. Lazy cooking is not doing me any good. Right, so that's all of the layers in place. For the die cutting, I'm using a sentiment and a flower from a set by Sizzix, Tim Holtz. And I'm running through various different colour combos with the actual die. Now, I had a bit of a bodge at the top here for the H, where it didn't cut slightly through, so I chopped that off. This wasn't anything to do with the die, it was the fact that the plates slipped when I put them in the die cutting machine. For the sentiment, I'm also going to cut a black layer to add as a shadow layer on that. And then for the branch and the centre of the flower, I'm going to die cut some white cardstock. Okay, just checking the length of that branch before I chop a bit off. And then of course using that Pinflair bookbinding glue, as I always do with paper and card, to stick that branch in place. I chose to use the white cardstock there so that it stood out from the quite intense background colours. Now I'm just layering up the two pink floral layers together with the white centre. And then I'm going to just use my fingers rather than any specific shaping tools, just to give this flower a little shape. The sentiments, again, I'm using the bookbinding glue to glue them down, and they will go on top of each other. I chose on this occasion, rather than assembling them first, I chose to put the black version down first. And in hindsight, I probably would have left it there if I chose to do this again. If I chose to do this again, I probably would have chosen different flower dies as well. Probably those ones that you curl up, the spiral ones. But there you go, you see, layouts, that's what they're for. You try one way, you don't like it, you try another way, but in all, it's taken out the thinking and the stress of creating the layout each time. You can just keep going in with different elements, different die cuts, different embellishments, and creating all sorts of different versions. Basically, you get to do the fun bit of making and creating rather than having to try and think about measurements. Now, a few gems in the centre of that flower, and that's this week's challenge done for me. Of course, I look forward to seeing what you make over in the Facebook group. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and please remember to like and subscribe before you go.